priority by getting to know their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
38% of Americans don't get enough magnesium, which is vital for bone, nerve, and muscle health. I recommend Qdoll's Magnesium Glycinate. It's formulated for high absorption and is gentle on the stomach. Qdoll, the brand I trust.
This is the carry-on closet, the suitcase with a one-of-a-kind closet system that keeps you organized anywhere. Pack all you need for up to 10 days and travel without ever unpacking. The comfort of home on the go. Unpack in seconds at soulguard.co.
Protect against RSV with Arexvy. Arexvy is a vaccine used to prevent lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. Arexvy does not protect everyone and is not for those with severe allergic reactions to its ingredients. Those with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most common side effects are injection site pain, fatigue, muscle pain, headache, and joint pain. Arexvy is #1 in RSV vaccine shots. RSV, make it Arexvy.
My name is Braden. I was 5 years old when I came to St. Jude. I'll try and shorten down the story. So, I've been having these headaches that wouldn't go away. My mom, she was just crying. What they said, your son has brain cancer.
It was your worst fear coming to life.
Watching your child grow up is the dream of every parent. You can join the battle to save the lives of kids like Braden by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live.
What they have done for me, my son, my family. Sorry, yeah.
Life is a gift, especially for a child battling cancer. Call or go online and help save the lives of children like Braden.
Now, I'm 11 years old. We were actually doing the checkup for my brain, and they saw something in my throat. It's thyroid cancer.
It was heartbreaking to find out that he has cancer again, but we knew who we had behind us. It just gives me hope.
You can make a difference. Join with your credit or debit card for only $19 a month, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt.
Without St. Jude or its donors, we would have been in a bad place.
These kids, they've done nothing wrong in the world. Finding a cure for childhood cancer, it means everything.
Help St. Jude give kids with cancer a chance.
I speak in the name of the one true God.
She's with you. She's with you now and always.
You believe you were sent by God?
Yes.
I feel like I'm betraying my altar.
Please, I would like to die in place of this man.
He will baptize you with fire.
Our nation of friends, our God, calls us to a leader.
This is what I was born for.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Exciting night. President Trump, former President Trump, rallying his supporters in North Carolina. His third stop today. Right now, why don't we listen in a little bit?
Thus far, in other words, this far in here, and it's not even close. What do you think of that, Mr. Senator Biden? What do you think? That's pretty amazing people, right? No, but think of it. I figured if you got 50%, it would be a miracle. And they beat the records from other times. But we've had just a great time together. We had 2016, then we have 2020, where we did much better, okay? We did much better. We got a lot more votes. We got millions of more votes, but a lot of things happened. A lot of bad things happened. But this time, I will tell you, and I think a lot of it's that you liked me, but you liked me even better because you saw these grossly incompetent people, and it made me much more popular than I was, and maybe more popular than I should be, I don't know. Because we're blowing it the way we're doing. Now, I don't know, you still have to go and vote. We have to, you know, as they say in football, let's finish it off, right? You got to get that ball across the end zone. You got to get it into the end zone, and that's where we are. But we're in great shape to finish off these people, these leftist, crazy people that are destroying our country, and we're not going to let them destroy it. She destroyed San Francisco. She helped destroy the state of California. We're not going to let her destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. So we've got to get out there. And when I'm president, we're going to evict the illegals and we'll take back our properties. You know, you take a look at what they've done. They've actually taken over property all over our country. They've taken over property. And, you know, we're going to get the housing and the relief and everything else that we need, but we're going to take back our country, okay? And under the Trump administration, the only free service we're going to be given to these illegal alien criminals, and many of them are not criminals, but a tremendous number of criminals are here. And the only free aid they're going to get is a free ride back home. And I'm always going to put America first, and we are just 3 days away from the greatest political victory in the history of our country, I guess in the history of the world. But it only happens if you vote. If you don't vote, then bad things could be happening. You'll be very depressed. And we don't want to have depression, right? There's no depression. You know the best way to stop depression? Work your ass off.
So the president getting a little reflective of his third straight campaign, and he's not lying when he says the second time around he got more votes, 74 million votes, more than any other Republican in history. It just wasn't as much as Joe Biden. So we're going to dip back and forth as the president tries to finish and run through the tape over the next 2 days, his second stop in North Carolina. But it's time now for the media moments that matter. Joining me to break it down is a good friend of the show, Danielle Pletka, Senior Fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Danielle, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And I know you're listening and watching the rally too. So the president getting a little reflective on these 3 straight campaigns. We haven't seen anything quite like it, have we?
No, it's a different Trump, and you know I like this Trump a lot better, less bombastic, more reflective,
it was a mosquito.
more thoughtful.
It was a mosquito.
Giving different perspectives, and a little bit sentimental.
It was a mosquito.
So Danielle, this week there was a few times in which the media lost their mind.
Yeah.
Now, Trump always creates media moments. We know that. But once they made it up on the Liz Cheney situation when he sat down with Tucker and said, hey, you're a war hawk. And the thing is, imagine, would you be so much of a war hawk if it was you out there fighting? But of course it was mischaracterized big time. And among the people that pointed it out was Bill Maher, a liberal, but he says, and not a fan of Trump, but this is a mistake. Watch.
I woke up today to the headline that Trump had called for a firing squad for Liz Cheney. And this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't. You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump. And of course, he expresses himself horribly. He has to add, she's a stupid person because he's a moron. But just so, just don't lie to me. I don't like Donald Trump. Don't lie to me and tell me he wants it in front of a firing squad.
And Drudge was probably the worst offender. Your thoughts?
Look, when Bill Maher is telling you that the media is over the top, you've really gone too far. he's not a Trump advocate, he's not a Republican, he's not a conservative, and yet he is saying what I think a lot of Americans feel and have felt increasingly over the last few years, which is that the media doesn't speak for them, but it doesn't really speak for anything other than the filter through which they see America.
And Danielle, the thing is, there's undecideds, independents, a big push for Kamala Harris. Your thoughts about both events?
Look, I understand why a newspaper would decide not to endorse. If you want to be a newspaper for all of your people, then do not give the game away by suggesting that you have an editorial preference. We already think you have an editorial preference. All you're doing is confirming it. So Bezos, as a businessman, says to the Washington Post, listen, I want people to be able to decide for themselves. Well, guess what? I live in Washington. I have already decided. Unfortunately, the Washington Post leans not just left, but increasingly far left. And it's no surprise that whoever was making the advertising decisions after Bezos made that announcement, and they lost more than 250,000 digital subscribers, they went right back at their base audience. Look, they are, we talk about this in politics all the time, right? People play to their base. The Washington Post went back and played to their base, and unfortunately, their base is on the far left. That leaves the rest of us out.
Yeah, some of the full screens you're seeing, they set up a quiz that says, no matter what you answer to the quiz, you probably want to be a Harris voter and supporter, and they did it online, kind of underhanded. The other thing that's no laughing matter, I don't think, I love the late night shows, or I used to, until they became really programs that belong on MSNBC. They did a study. 98% of the jokes done in those monologues and for those late night shows are negative towards Trump and target Trump to the tune is pretty overwhelming. 1,463 jokes, 1,428 jokes about Trump, 35 about Harris. Does that matter?
Oh, it matters a huge amount. I know that the American people recognize that our late night shows are dominated by elitist, leftist liberals. That's fine. If they're funny, that's amazing. But it affects the zeitgeist. It affects how we think about the candidates. And it has an impact on every part of the culture, not just the media, but every other way that you think about the candidates. It's really important.
Right. I mean, The Daily Show, 90%. Jimmy Fallon, 91% jokes about the GOP or Trump. Stephen Colbert, 92%, but he could just work for the Harris campaign. Jimmy Kimmel, probably the worst offender, 97%, and Seth Meyers. Now, we have a great staff, Danielle. We found a joke about Kamala Harris, and if you don't mind, can we share it and try not to slap your knees too hard in hysterics? Watch.
It's time to knock on doors, to text, to call.
Yes, it's time to knock on doors and text and call and then lasso voters.
Are you laughing? That was it.
Wow, damn. Look, Kamala Harris is going to be on Saturday Night Live tonight. I am looking forward to seeing whether they're willing to make as much fun of her as they've made of her in the last few weeks. We'll see.
How about not? They won't. And was the invitation put out to Trump? Right? I mean, they're putting their hands on the scale again through a comedy show, an iconic comedy show. We'll see how she does. She turned down the Al Smith dinner where she had a chance to be funny by herself. We'll see if the writers of SNL can make her seem likable. Danielle Pletka, thanks so much. We appreciate you tonight. We also appreciate you with this guy named Mark Thiessen on your podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
You got it. Meanwhile, the president's rallying right now in Greensboro, North Carolina. Let's dip in.
Get this done, and then after that, what we're going to have is a different format, probably a different name, not a word rally, but we're going to be even much happier because we're going to set our country into the right path, not the wrong path. If you saw it today, it came out that close to 90%, the right way, wrong way thing that they do, these crazy people do back there. How about they're close to 90% wrong way? And then she says, no, I'll do the same thing as Joe Biden's been doing, and he's 90% off. He's got nobody's ever been at 90%. One thing I'm very proud of, the press, when I first got started, the fake news back there. Very proud of that name. I gave a lot of good names, didn't I, right? But I'm very proud of that name. But the fake news back there, they were at 92% approval rating when we started this journey in 2015. And now they're less than Congress, which is in the low 12s. I'm very proud of them because I've exposed them as being fake. And the only problem with that, and I'm so proud of that term, but the only problem with that is the word fake is not strong enough.
Well, he's talking about the media. He's also could point out that 28% of the country think we're on the right track, meaning most of the country thinks we're on the wrong track. And if the president's got to be successful, he's got to take North Carolina. He's got to take, obviously, he's got to take Arizona and Georgia. But that won't be enough along with North Carolina. He's going to have to take one of the so-called blue wall states. And one of them might be Wisconsin. All eyes on Wisconsin. And the Republican candidate making real noise. He came from double digits down to a flat-footed tie. It is Eric Hovde, and he wants to be the next senator from Wisconsin. He joins us right now. Eric, you've watched those rallies. You've been a part of them with the President of the United States. What's it like to be on that stage?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've done 5 different rallies with President Trump, and we had a big one in Milwaukee last night at the Fiserv Arena. Packed, 15,000 people. The energy was absolutely fantastic. President Trump had a couple jokes about my stash and all the rest. So, yeah, him and I have a really good relationship, and I feel really good about where Wisconsin stands. Look, if we win Wisconsin, he wins the presidency, and if I win the Senate race, we take back the Senate, not just for the next 2 years, but potentially for the next 4. So, you know, Wisconsin is so important, and the momentum is definitely on our side.